Well, hello everybody. It is your boy Chris Avalon here. And yes, I wanted to come online, loud, live, and in color with you bitches from New York, which is beyond freezing outside. Last night it was like 7 degrees. Today it's probably like a bit 12, 13. So it is freezing cold. But I'm going to warm you up with a little bit of tea about this whole debacle concerning actor Jussie Smollett. Now, the reason why I waited a couple of days, because I know the story came out about 2 days ago. Well, 2 days ago. I wanted to wait until enough stuff came out about what had happened before I decided to give my opinion on what has transpired and what we've learned so far. So for those of you who've been living under a rock, the Empire actor was assaulted by 2 white men who basically, according to sources, said to Smollett, "Aren't you that faggot Empire nigger?" Now, I know a lot of y'all want to be like, well, why are you saying the F word and the N word? Because you know what? A lot of times when people say the N word and they say the F word, when they refer to it as that, it kills the impact of how serious discrimination is in this country. I'm not talking about other countries because that ain't what's concerning me. I'm concerned with what's going on in my own backyard. And from what has been going on as of late since the Orange Cheeto has become president of the United States, there seems to be a spike in discriminative attacks against people who aren't white and male. I've been hearing too many stories about trans women being murdered in this country. I've been hearing way too many stories about people of color being beat up, killed, this, that, and the third. I just heard a story this morning about a trans woman who went by a black trans woman named Pinky, who was murdered in Houston, Texas. The story, from what I was hearing, was that she was running away from this guy. He fired shots at her, cornered her in front of the door of a, what do you call it? Freak. I don't know why it just dropped out of my brain. Okay. Out of a gas station. She was on her way to, like, you know, the stores that they have at the gas station. She was at the door, and then all of a sudden the guy fired a bunch of shots in her, killing her right then and there. So there's this war on people being killed. Another trans woman I had heard where it was, she was murdered. It wasn't even in the United States. What had happened was, it was another country. She was killed, and the guy ripped her heart out and kept it as a souvenir or something or another. So there's a lot of craziness that's going on with a lot of people in this country, particularly people of color. There is a war, I feel like, on all of us. And the fact of the matter that people are only starting to notice that a lot of trans people and gay people who are being bashed in this country, and they're only paying attention because it happened to an actor, it kind of saddens me. But if this is what it takes for people to wake up and realize that we have an issue in this country, then it's something we need to talk about. So what had happened after they had said this to him, they pounced on him, broke his ribs, put a noose around his neck, and doused him with bleach. Now, putting a noose around your neck is basically code for you're trying to hang somebody based off the color of their skin. So you're trying to hang a black person. The bleach is a symbol of you trying to lighten somebody's skin. Fun and quiet as it's kept, here's the thing. Jussie Smollett's already light-skinned, so what, you gonna make him brighter? So the point of the bleach was unnecessary. But what was bothering me was the fact that the reactions of a lot of people. While there were people who were giving him well wishes, they piped up security, they beeped up security for the cast members of Empire. And just hours before this incident occurred, Jussie, there was, what was it, like a letter that was sent to the office basically threatening the actor's life. So unless he wasn't aware of this letter and that Fox thought, oh, let's keep this away from him because this is nothing, or we're not going to take this seriously. It would have been nice if they would have warned him. There was many different conflicting things that were coming out, not from him, but from people who were saying, oh, this doesn't make sense. Who walks around with rope and bleach in Chicago? Or why was he out at 2 in the morning? Doesn't matter why someone is out. First of all, I think as a human being, we should all be allowed to go out and do whatever we need to do, whatever time we want to do it. There should be no reason why you're saying, well, you're in a specific type of area, so you're pretty much asking for it. To me, it's no different than a woman walking down the street or going to the club in a nice outfit trying to look cute and feel her oats, or a man, because it happens to them too, and them being raped. And you're saying, well, if you wasn't wearing that outfit, then this wouldn't have happened to you. You're victim shaming. And for people, those of you out there who did that May you kindly fuck yourself with razor blades injected in some dildos. Like, take a bunch of razor blades, stick it in a dildo, and kindly shove it up your ass and your pussy or whoever else who was starting to think that this is some shit that who wants to victim shame or whatever the case is. So I'm glad that Jussie's doing well. I'm glad that this is a speedy recovery that was on him. But one of the things that I thought was quite interesting is that when we had celebrities spoken up, like Kevin Hart, D.L. Hughley, and Ellen DeGeneres, who got roasted, all three of them, on social media for their hypocrisy. Now, what Kevin Hart wrote was, sending prayers your way at Jussie Smollett. This is unbelievably sad. Why are we going backwards? This is disgusting. We as people have to do better. WTF is going on the world. Why? And Ellen got in trouble for her situation. Well, you know what? Yeah, I'll just say what Ellen said and I'll give my opinions on this. So the thing was, they put, 4 years ago, Jussie Smollett came out on my show. I'm sending him and his family so much love today. So here's the thing. Ellen, once again, is so far up the ass of Hollywood that she doesn't even know what her own shit tastes like. I feel like with her, she's so out of the loop with reality and all this other stuff. For her, people are pissed because she gave Kevin Hart a pass on her show when she basically let him sit there for 6 minutes and go on this apology tour. You know, not apology tour, but this woe is me. Like, I'm trying to learn. I did this. I said this in my past. Why is everybody picking on me? Like, she went in and just let him sit there and didn't really, in my opinion, in many people's opinion, basically hold his feet to the fire and say, well, for you saying what you said, this, you know, you should have came out and kind of understand where people are coming from who have been discriminated against. I think since she was blacklisted from Hollywood at one point and she got her life back, she hasn't really dealt with ignorance, discrimination, and so on, because she's a safe homo, which is, this middle America likes you, you're harmless, you're not dangerous, so people aren't scared of you and offended by you. So you got to toe that line so that way you don't ruffle the feathers of middle America who's actually sitting and watching your show every day for the past, what? How many seasons you been on? 17, 20 years? I don't know, because I used to watch Ellen, like, in the first couple of seasons, and then I just outgrew it. It just wasn't my cup of tea. So, with that being said, basically what people were saying that, okay, Kevin Hart coming out and saying this, while on one hand, it comes to show that let's give the olive branch, he's growing, he's learning, that sort of thing, because I always say, like, you know, I truly believe in people need to grow, people need to learn from their mistakes, we need to let people evolve. When you say things that have been said 10 years ago and then 10 years later you've evolved and changed, I truly do believe in change. Look, there's been shit that I've said 10 years ago, maybe longer, that was ridiculously inappropriate, ignorant, misogynistic, sexist, that sort of thing. But as I've grown and I've had conversations with other people, I have learned from my mistakes and I moved on from it. The same thing where, like, I'll use, for example, Perez Hilton. I'll use him for an example. Back in the day, he was ruthless. Like, he would draw cum stains on people's face. He would call people Flop Tina or all kinds of crazy names and this, that, and the other. But since then, I know a lot of people don't like him, particularly a lot of gay men. And he even says this on his YouTube videos. But I've watched him and I've seen him, and he has truly changed and he's truly evolved. I remember there was like the whole thing after, I think it was like the It Gets Better, that and the bashing and all other stuff, that he decided, oh, I need to change. Back when he used to out people and he used to do all that other stuff. So I truly do see, like, I don't believe in change by you saying I've changed and da-da-da, so on and so forth. I take you by your actions. I don't take a lot of people by their word. So if you show people that you've changed and you consistently show people that you've changed, then I'm like, okay, this guy has learned, this girl has learned, you truly changed, you truly evolved, you truly decide to take this moment to walk the walk instead of just popping off and saying a bunch of bullshit. Because people do that all the time. People will talk out their ass to the top, to the cows come home. But when it comes down to it, if you show people you change, that's more believable than somebody just come out and say, well, I've changed. Don't you see I've changed? Because first of all, I've never even heard Kevin, I've said this many a time before. I wasn't aware of these tweets of old, as he likes to call them. Because apparently he's trying to audition to be in Shakespeare or some shit, the tweets of old. Like, who fucking talks like that? But anyway, when you posted stuff in your past and you said things, and you have to realize that when you go around saying that, if my son shows any signs of being gay, if my son is caught playing with a dollhouse, then I'm going to break that dollhouse over his head. Or that I saw my son and another boy dancing and grinding up on each other, and I didn't know what to do, so I just took them both and threw them on the floor. And then you got people in the audience laughing at this, especially when religion in the black community, let's talk about the churches, where there's, you got the queen singing in the choir, you got them, doing all kinds of stuff behind the scenes and in front of y'all and stuff in regards of praising the Lord and all this other stuff. But under the same breath, you got these pastors talking about you're going to hell, that this is a sin, this abomination, all these other things, making you need these homos to make you sound good in the choir, but they're still not considered equal. So there's a lot of religion that plays into it, a lot of internalized homophobia. And when you make these type of jokes about beating on someone for being gay, you have to realize that there's a lot of people in the community of color, I was trying to figure out how I was going to word it, the community of color that have issues with people who are gay. I've heard it from my own family members. Not necessarily I won't say my mother or father, but I've heard, like, my cousins will make snide comments, that there'll be people in my family who will say things that are deemed hurtful and homophobic and this, that, and the other. And there have been times where, when I was younger, when you get into that point where you try to suppress your sexuality and hide who you are, you don't battle them on the ignorant shit that they say. So you just kind of cowl in a corner, or you just pretend you didn't hear it. But as I'm older now, when people say some dumb shit, I question them on it. Like, I don't care. And if you hate me on it, I don't give a fuck. But, so basically people were getting on Kevin Hart and D.L. Hughley for their tone-deaf comments about this whole thing. And D.L. Hughley, the reason why they went in on him is because his issues with, well, he basically defended Kevin Hart saying it's just jokes. But like I said before in conversations with friends of mine, it's always just jokes until your demographic is attacked. Because if somebody said anything remotely negative about black people, guaranteed you, D.L. Hughley would be on Vlad TV, he'll be on The View, he'll be on Van Jones, he'll be on any CNN show that'll have his black ass than with them fucking starter dreads that he had. I don't know how you've been having dreads for 8 damn years or longer, and them shits still look like you just got them shits twisted. You finally got the hair grown out your roots a week ago, and they just started twisting them shits. How your hair still look the motherfucking same length? That I don't get. Okay, let me bring it back down from the rant. But I say this overall to say this, like, it's not always just jokes. It's always just jokes when it doesn't benefit you. And and for those who know me, I love an inappropriate joke. I love jokes when people say all kinds of stuff. Be it about gays, women, trans, whatever. As long as the joke is cleverly told. If you can tell a joke where it's like you laugh yourself, like, I love people like, say, Joan Rivers, Bianca Del Rio, like people who could be insult comics, inappropriate and stuff, but you got to know where that line is. Or sometimes I don't think you really know where the line, because sometimes you got to step over that line to know where the line is. But as long as you can wrap the joke and make it smart and funny and thought-provoking, but it's inappropriate, I can go for that, like a George Carlin or something like that. If you could tell a joke in an intelligent way, then I'm all for it. But there's nothing intelligent about what Kevin Hart says, because I've never found his black vertically challenged ass to be funny to begin with. I've never found him funny. I don't find him funny. I don't find D.L. Hughley funny. D.L. Hughley will have funny moments, but bitch, ain't nobody got time to wait for a moment for that moment to arrive for me to laugh. Like, I ain't got time for that. Like, set up the shit and get to it. But and for Ellen to act as if she is the spokesperson for all queer people of color when you aren't, that wasn't your place to forgive Kevin Hart. If he would have came out in the beginning and said, you know what, I apologize for those who don't know me. This is not my heart. This is not who I truly am. This is stuff that I said when I was younger, and now that I'm older and I've been exposed to people who are different than when I was raised around, or whatever the case is, Now I don't believe those beliefs anymore. Now I don't follow that belief system. And if he would have put that out there like that, I really believe that people would have forgiven him for what he was saying and we would have moved on from it. But the fact of the matter that he went on this whole, woe is me tour on Ellen's show, to me felt like he didn't learn his lesson. And to make shit worse, he decided to lash out on social media over people who roasted him about his thoughts on the whole Jussie Smollett thing. So he played the victim not only one time on Ellen's show, but he decided to play the victim again. So it's sort of like, you know what, this thing with him, I really don't believe that Kevin Hart has learned his lesson at all. So basically what he basically said was, where is it? Oh, so people were going at him and just said, based on his comments, you should have just sat there and ate your food, Kevin. Ain't nobody trying to watch you use this for an op. And then people were like, but keep joking about beating up your kid for being gay. And so he was like, I stand with the man. This is what Kevin said. I stand with the man in his time of hurt and need by giving him heartfelt support. And you take the time to harp on my 10-year past that I have apologized about and moved on from by being a better person. Do you want change? If so, I'm an example of what you want people to do, change. And my thing is, you can't ask people oh, look, I've changed. Like, this is literally, it wasn't that long ago that people were roasting you over those tweets because of the whole Oscars. The Oscars didn't even come on yet. So, to me, I've always said, like I said before, I don't take you by your word. I take you by your actions. And to me, Kevin Hart has yet to show in his actions that he is a changed man. And instead of going in and letting have and being like, well, y'all need to I'm showing you that I've changed. No. You should have just not answered. You should have just left it alone or whatever the case was. So for me, when him posting this makes me wonder, is this a publicity stunt? For him to go and say, well, tweeting what he tweeted about Jussie Smollett, is this, has he really changed? Or was this a PR stunt way for him to be like, you know what? This was a black gay man who was bashed or who was attacked in Chicago by me tweeting out, well, we need a change. Is this sort of a PR thing where they're trying to show like, oh, look, Kevin Hart has changed. Kevin Hart doesn't hate gay people. He has no issues with homos. So yeah, let me tweet this out. People aren't buying it, and I'm not buying it either. Like I said, I don't need you out there waving a flag on a float. I don't need you out here being an ally. I mean, like, an ally in a way of I need you to give a speech or host the GLAAD Awards and all that. We don't need that. But just know that what you say and the way you put things, it hurts people. That's all, and I think that's all people were asking for. But just a sincere apology from you on your thoughts in regards of homophobia and transphobia, whatever the case is. I'm not even sure if he's ever made jokes about trans people. But all I know is that words hurt. And the people at the bottom of the totem pole who are really affected by all of this are Black and Latino men, gay men, or just let's say queer people of color in general, across the board. Because we're the least represented in society. We don't even have that many spokespeople out here who could speak for us. The only person that I could say that we have as Black that could speak on us is not Kevin Hart, is Don Lemon. He's the only one. That's why I do the videos that I do, because if we want the change, we got to be out here. We got to put the APB out, and hopefully that you guys who are watching understands where we as queer people of color are coming from, that we're here, we have a voice, we have feelings, and when you say some shit that affects our community, it affects us. And so we need to be the change we want to see in the world, and hopefully I'm doing that for you guys. But I would like to know you guys' thoughts on this whole segment about everything that's going on with Jussie Smollett, homophobia, transphobia, things that are racism and then stuff with the whole MAGA hat thing. Because yes, they said that the guy shouted some MAGA stuff, that this is all like racism, and anything that has to do with bigotry has increased since Trump has been put in office. I won't blame everything completely on him, because people showed their racist colors when we had Obama for 8 years, but it intensified when we got the Cheeto in chief. So I would like to know your thoughts on this, and the fact that people want to equate the fact that those people out there who wear those red MAGA hats, that is modern day, they're modern day lynchers and members of the not even members of the KKK, but it's just a new version of it. So we are equating people who wear MAGA. I'm not saying all Trump supporters are racist, because I don't believe that. I believe that there was some who were sold a pipe dream, didn't want a politician in office, didn't like what the Republicans and Democrats were about, and they wanted to see a change, and they thought Trump was going to be it because he wasn't a politician, he was a businessman. Meanwhile, if you lived in New York and you were aware of the type of man Trump was, or is, because he's still the same person. Trust and believe. He's gone bankrupt 4 times. The whole, what was it, Central Park 5, where he was trying to go about do whatever he could to have the death penalty go on those men who come to find out they were innocent in the whole situation. What happened with that? If you're not familiar with the Central Park 5, look it up. But the fact of the matter is, it's like, people who wear these MAGA hats, we don't want to put you in that predicament, but it's starting to show that all these people in media, when we see it, you wear those MAGA hats, you spout your racist rhetoric. So we're going to equate you with Nazis and white supremacists and all this other stuff, because if you showed us otherwise, then we wouldn't have to take this narrative. So I want to know your thoughts on this. Leave a comment, subscribe, like, share, do all that good stuff. I love you all for watching. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing your comments on this and what you think about all of this. And I'm hoping that I'm sure we'll get more on this. They have, they did check home over surveillance footage and saw that there was 2 guys that were there in the area of where this attack may have happened. They don't have a clear look of the face, but I've noticed that as I've been reading up on stories, that there have been people out here who have been doing their homework and trying to catch up and see what's going on. So I'll keep you guys posted on this story as it develops. Love you all for watching. Ciao, darlings.